Welcome to the Goodish Girls, everybody. My name is Dallas.
I'm Madison.
I'm Sierra. I'm the owner of Wonderwick, and I'm super excited to be here.
Yay, she's here. We've been planning this for a while, and I'm so excited. If you guys don't know what Wonderwick is an amazing business created by Sierra where she takes the characters from your favorite books, mostly the Sarah J. Maas universe, but she has some other fun ones coming up as well. And she takes those characters right out of the books and then puts them into a scent. So any scent that you order smells just like that character would. Do you want to give us like an example of maybe one of your favorite ones?
Yes, of course. One of my favorite ones that I made is one that everyone knows and loves, and that is Rowan and Terracin from Throne of Glass. I think it's in Empire of Storms. No spoilers, but it says that he smells just like Terracin, and so that detail is just so important to the storyline, and I just loved it so much that that's kind of what our whole company is about, is making sure that it's an immersive experience for you. You can smell the characters, you can smell the locations exactly as they're described, and it just lets the magic linger a little longer.
I love that. And Sierra was so kind, and she did send us something really fun for this podcast and this episode specifically. So we have our little boxes here.
I'm so excited, you guys. You have no idea.
We haven't received a gift ever. This is like the first one. So I'm fangirling so hard. I know.
Okay, so you haven't smelled them yet?
No, we've been waiting. I was like, I kept looking at it too. I was like, should I?
Live
should
reaction.
I don't know. Okay, nobody judge me opening this box, though, please. I don't know how
open mine.
I don't know how the professionals open their gifts yet. I'm still learning. Okay. So we have this.
Oh, I just pulled that out too. It's so cute.
It's perfect.
Oh my gosh, I had so much fun designing those.
These are beautiful. Oh my gosh, it's going on my keys for sure. Okay. All right, Madison, I want us to do this at the same time.
Okay.
Chuck the box. There it goes. Okay. We have ours. Here we go.
Bum, ba-dum, bum.
I'm worried I'm going to break it. Okay, don't break it. Oh, we have Bryce. So cute.
Oh,
check it out.
Little makeup influence. Like, here's my sample.
I know, influencer style. There you go.
So Bryce is lilac and nutmeg. Do you want to tell us a little bit about this while we smell it for the first time ever?
Yeah, of course. This
right,
one was so hard to get right.
Ooh.
Just because lilac, the florals, and nutmeg is a baking spice. They just typically don't go together. And so I spent months trying to figure out how to make those go together. And I figured out the secret was a little bit of like vanilla and cream.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
I can smell it. Yeah.
Yep. Yes.
Oh my gosh. And so you kind of have this base note of lilac that shines through a couple minutes after wearing it. It was so fun to make. This one's my favorite. I love it so much.
It's so beautiful, and it smells very elegant.
Good.
Yeah, I think this could be for like just a normal like running errands day, but this is definitely if I'm going on a date night, or am I like going out to something special, this is gonna come with me to the Brimstone release party in New York for sure, because I'm gonna be like, I need to smell fancy for that moment. So yes, this is gonna go with me. Oh, I have a special spot for it too. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, also fun fact, I'm going to a career fair after this, so I will be showing up smelling like Bryce Quinlan.
There you go.
They will hire you.
My favorite reviews are ones where people are like, oh, I was going on a first date and I needed to feel sexy, so I wore Bryce. Or like I needed some courage, so I wore Aelin, Like I just love that this allows you to like embody the characters. It is so much fun. I love my job.
I feel so good right now. This is great.
Yay!
I feel I'm in the world of Lunathian. Amazing. Well, thank you so much for that.
Of course.
And you guys can go to her website there. Her link will be in our show notes. We'll be throwing a discount code in there as well. So check that out.
The little bookmark too.
So cute. Yeah, maybe you get a little goodie in your boxes too. Oh, that's so amazing. Thank you so much for that. That was wonderful.
Of course. Thank you.
All right, let's do this. You came here for a reason. Let's talk Crescent City, okay? So Sierra here is going to just hang out with us as we're going through these episodes. We're going to have a lot of fun. We have some theories going on. So again, if this is your first time hanging out with us, please make sure you go back to episodes prior to this, because we're doing this a little bit different than a normal deep dive. First, we are going to take you to a guided tour of Crescent City. So whatever chapters we're covering today, which is 27 through 32, if you have read up to chapters 32, you are safe. For the other half of the episode, we are going to be going into the House of Theories and Lore, where we will be talking about not only these chapters that we have covered, but the entire rest of this series and the whole Massverse. So you're welcome to stay for that. Or if you don't want any spoilers, you can come back to that after you finish these 3 books and the rest of the ACOTAR and Throne of Glass series, okay? So let's get into it.
Kicking off chapter 27, last episode we picked up, or we left off on a really big thing. It's whenever the White Raven exploded. And so essentially this chapter opens up with Hunt walking Bryce back from the White Raven. Hunt wants to help Bryce, but he's not really sure how to do it because he feels like if he tries, then she might go down a raging spiral, which no one wants that, especially after something that's very traumatic. All of these things are very, very particular in how you want to address them. But as they make their way back to the apartment, Hunt gets to walk into the front office where he finally gets some benefits. So, because he couldn't watch TV, but you know what? He's moved on up in the world. Because whenever they get into the apartment, Bryce loosely introduced Hunt to her doorman, Marion, and says that Hunt will be staying with her for the foreseeable future, unfortunately. But girl, in my opinion, that's fortunately.
Yeah, lucky Bryce.
Exactly. I'm like, I wouldn't complain. Hello?
Yeah.
We love Marin in this house because when Bryce lost her keys in the explosion, Hunt went all the way back down to the lobby to ask Marin for a spare, and Marin would not entertain the idea until he heard Bryce's voice like, hey, it's okay. So for that, we love Marin. I would let him watch my drink at a bar for sure.
Thank you for your service, Marin.
Exactly. Hunt asks Bryce as they're kind of walking through the apartment why she has not made the drop yet, and she shares that I was waiting. We were supposed to do it together 2 years from now, and Hunt doesn't need to ask who the we includes. He knows that it's essentially alluding to her and Danica. And in that moment, it kind of starts clicking together why Bryce doesn't do the things she used to do, like drink or dance or get her leg fixed from the first scene with the Crystallos in the park. It's because she essentially is like forfeiting living her life because Danica has passed. And Hunt can specifically relate to this because he essentially finds himself in Bryce, seeing the way that she mourns Danica's loss, the same way that he mourned for Shahar and kind of beat himself up after losing that battle on Mount Hermon. He specifically references as he's talking about like how he kind of just takes blame for his own losses. He says Oginus knows, which I think is very, very interesting that he decides to pick that goddess who is the goddess of the sea and keeper of mysteries. So I proposed the question, like, why would he reference specifically Oginus and not like Chthona or Erd? I feel like Erd would have been like the more in your face, kind of like, I'm gonna do that one. I don't know.
Do you have any thoughts on that, Sierra?
That's interesting. What was that specifically in reference to? Why was he referencing that god?
So he essentially, within this chapter, after Bryce says like, oh, I don't do, or he kind of clicks like Bryce doesn't do these things because after Danica has passed, and he's like, oh yeah, I kind of get that because after Mount Hermon, I tortured myself just like thinking of these things, not letting myself enjoy things. And he starts the chapter saying Oginus knows he, and then essentially going into like Oginus knows like he beat himself up for centuries after that, or hasn't let himself live the life that he used to live.
That is so interesting because like just I know we're not doing spoilers, but throughout the Massverse, the gods are such a huge part of every story, you know, and we don't really get any other insight into that god, do we? There's that might even be one of the only mentions we have of him, so that makes me wonder why Hunt subscribes to that god so strongly that he would say that in that moment. You know, I like to think that you know, we have 3 books. We have the House of Earth and Blood, Sky and Breath. Geez, I'm blanking on the third one. But what we're missing is the House of Many Waters. You know,
Yes.
so I do think that we're going to get a lot of information not only about that god, but about the House of Many Waters because we haven't seen much of that. So I do think that that's going to be really important going forward into this fourth book and future crossovers.
Well, and it's interesting because in the beginning of the whole series, when especially if you're doing the audiobook version, when they're breaking down all the houses and all the gods, the there's a couple that are described more than others.
Yeah.
So I thought that was it, like, they're like Cathona, like the earth goddess of Midgard, and then it says like who her mate is and her sister, things like that. But it's like they're just this, and then when you get to like Erd is one of the longest ones, and it's like an ancient, powerful entity, often described as a force of fate or destiny. They are considered more primal than Luna.
Yeah, and even here in the beginning, you know, when it's listing all of the houses, it says House of Many Waters, River Spirits, Myrrh, blah, blah, blah. Others watched over Biogenes. So is Hunt watched over Biogenes?
Maybe.
Do we know what house he is?
He should be Sky and Breath, because that is the Malachim or angels.
Okay. So why would he be talking about a genus and not Luna?
Right. That's a question.
Interesting.
I don't know. Ooh.
You know, that is something I did not catch. That is going on my wall.
We made it on the wall. Yes.
That's amazing. That's really interesting.
And
cool.
The wall is on your social media, correct?
It is. It's all over my TikTok and Instagram, Unhinged Book Talk. That's like my book one.
Yeah, so at Unhinged Book Talk, if you guys want to see Sierra's wall with strings and sticky notes and all the fun things. We made it on the wall. I hope you have like an at Goodish Girls.
Oh yeah.
Yes, give us a little shout. Oh yes.
All credit where credit's due.
Yes, we did it. Yeah. So if you guys have any thoughts too, like why maybe he said that, or maybe you missed it the first time and now you're rereading and you're like, oh, okay. So send us a DM or let us know in the comments what you guys think.
So aside from that question of why Bryce is waiting to make the drop, Hunt keeps on asking his questions. He asks, why wait now? And Bryce responds saying, Connor and Thorn were supposed to anchor us. And anchors are, again, very important whenever it comes to making the drop. They're essentially your life force that's tying you back to reality, because you're kind of making that internal mental subconscious drop to your power, and you need to have someone there to essentially help you make that ascent to come back. And Hunt, unfortunately for him, he made the drop a couple days after his mom had passed, and so his anchor was actually a government official that was assigned to him, which I thought was very, very sad.
That is really sad. I hate that.
I was hoping that he would have like at least made friends with Isaiah or something, have like Isaiah be his anchor. I feel like that would have been cute.
Yeah, he was pretty alone at that time.
Yeah, he's had a rough go. Not gonna lie.
I don't think we get a lot. I think we get some more information. Again, like not saying too much, but I don't think we hear very much about like his mom or things like that. Like no one really goes into depth about that. So I would be interested to have a little bit more of a backstory on that.
I just want a backstory on all the moms. I want a backstory on Hunt's mom, on Rune's mom, on Ember Quinlan, all the moms.
Yeah, there's something with Ember. I don't know what it is, but there's something there.
There's something with Rune's mom too.
I have a fun theory that we can talk about later.
Keep an eye out on all the moms, guys, as you're reading through the series. Watch them. Something is happening.
But the last question that Hunt asks Bryce is, because Bryce is mourning Danica so intensely, he asks if her and Danica were ever lovers. He was previously told no at the beginning of the investigation, but he sees a resemblance in the way that Bryce mourns for Danica to the same way that he mourned Shahar. And Bryce says, no, Danica and I weren't like that, but Connor and I, it was complicated. When they all died, the light went out at me. Another little sad Connor mention.
So
tears. R.I.P. sweet baby boy.
R.I.P. to all of them. Like, can you imagine?
That was the biggest shock of my life.
Yes.
Was getting into this book and like having to really focus because of all the world building. And I'm like, okay, I'm learning every name. I'm learning all these characters. And then bam, you're like, I'm
JK.
sorry. You're supposed to save the heartbreak until the last 200 pages. Remember? Oh my gosh.
I want to know one day if I ever get to talk to Sarah, I'm going to ask if she literally cackled while she wrote this.
Oh my god.
If she was like, ha ha ha, I'm not putting it in the end of the book. Surprise.
I think I remember whenever I first started reading this for the first time, I think I remember texting my friend like, oh my gosh, I love Connor. I can't wait to learn more about him. And she's
R.I.P.
like, Okay, she's so good at gaslighting me. Like, even for Throne of Glass, like, I would big brain and figure things out, like, soon than they would reveal. And she was like, maybe, like, that's a good idea.
Yep.
So, like,
Nah,
even with
boo.
this, she's like, yeah, Connor's pretty cool.
Yeah, good guy. Cool dude.
That
Like
makes me
Danica.
so sad.
I
I think she
know.
might have even said, like, Danica or something.
Like Danica. Ugh, I hate it.
It's fine.
Killed me.
Oh,
No.
But yeah,
She
Hunt was
was-
saying that he could essentially relate to what Bryce was feeling, and how it felt to wake up with friends and his lover, and then essentially at the end of the day, to wake up with them all gone. And for whatever reason, whenever I was typing my notes, are either of you musical people?
Mhm.
Dallas, are you a musical
No.
person?
No, but I'm
Okay.
here for the vibes.
Whenever I was typing my notes, I don't know if you've ever watched Les Miserables. I
Good
was
one where Anne
thinking
Hathaway
of
cries.
empty chairs and empty
Yes.
tables. I was like,
Yes.
oh no.
That is such the
Hunt is
vibe.
Marius.
Oh, that makes me so much more sad.
We're gonna emotionally scar you before the end of this episode.
I'm such a crier, you guys. You can't do this to me.
Dallas, your homework after this is to listen to that song, because in this moment, that's a real Hunt song.
Okay, will do. Can do that.
I love Hunt.
Can do.
I know he gets so much hate, but I love him so much.
Yes.
Oh, poor guy.
He is truly one of the best. I do also love Hunt, and we do give him a lot of crap. In the beginning, he does not deserve to watch TV from the rooftop.
Yes, he
I
Yeah.
will die on that hill. He's like, open the curtains, sweetheart. And I'm like, no,
Yeah.
you have to
boo.
earn it.
But
But he does eventually. So we
I
are
can't
Hunt
give
girlies
him-
over here. He's the best.
Oh my gosh. But as they are walking through the apartment, not only does Hunt actually get to come inside, but new achievement unlock, he gets his own room. Very, very big day for Hunt.
Impressive.
And then Bryce essentially says, I need to find out who did this. I don't care what Micah's motives are. If I don't find this person, it's going to eat me alive. And Hunt says, we will find him. Bryce asks, how do you know? And he says, because we don't have a choice. I don't have a choice. Micah offered me a deal. In my opinion, big dumb move. Because I'm like, you're not supposed to let that information out. Do I think Bryce would say anything? No. But I'm like, maybe pick another fun fact to share that's bonding aside from like mentioning the deal that could now possibly go away if she accidentally lets it slip. But if anyone forgot the deal, Hunt re-explains it. It's essentially Hunt has to make up for every life that the 18th took on Mount Hermon, so as a total of 2,217 deaths in order to get back his freedom. Hunt is at a whopping 82. And if Hunt can find the murderer before the summit meeting, then Micah said he'd reduce the number of debts owed to 10. However, if they do this, then Micah said he would consider Hunt's freedom, not necessarily like you will be free, which I thought was very sleazy.
Mm-hmm.
And you gotta watch people and their bargains. If I learned anything from fantasy.
Yeah, especially in these series. That's
Oh,
for sure.
real. I tell people that though. I'm like, if you ever get lost in a portal, like be careful what you're saying. But then I know that if I jump into a portal and someone's like, here's a deal, I'd be like, okay.
Especially if there's like a hot fade.
Yeah.
You're like, sure, whatever.
I know exactly. I'm like, oh yeah, no, whatever you need. You got it. Don't tell me anything. Everything's fine. So
I would be so screwed. I like to
could
think
not
that I
practice what I
could
preach.
that I could totally like survive. I would be so screwed.
Oh, same.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No,
Especially in Crescent City.
oh, dead immediately. Dead. R.I.P. Like, I'd be gone.
I think I might be able to do Crescent City, but if it was like the Empyrean series, or like maybe even Throne of Glass, I'd be like, nah, I'd be gone.
Yes. I want to say that I could wield a sword. I'd probably be like, this thing's really heavy.
We
I
could ride
just-
dragons. We could do
Yeah.
it.
I just
Let's walk the
hate
parapet.
running, and I know like I couldn't do the gauntlet. No, I'd like look at it and be like, that's a fun activity for you guys, but I'm gonna dip out Girl Scout.
Yeah. Well, have you guys ever done like those ninja courses at like a trampoline park or something?
No, they look
Oh my
intimidating.
gosh.
I've done it partially.
They're hard. I tried one and I was like, I'm like bigger than Violet. I can do this. I immediately fell. I'm like, I would die. I would literally die.
Yep. That's wild. Yeah. It kind of gives you a perspective of like how hard it really is
Yeah, seriously, because
to
you
do
just
all
read
these
about it.
things.
Ugh.
Yes. Ugh. 10,000 steps
No,
around
I'm
and
good.
around and around. Absolutely
Maybe one
not.
day. I'm sometimes tempted to do that challenge. It might take a long time, but we'll see if
Yeah.
I'm
Let us
that
know how it
motivated.
goes. We'll
I
be
need to do
rooting
one of
for
those
you.
workout programs where it's like train like Nesta. I'm like, I
Train
would
like a
rather not.
Valkyrie.
I will
Yeah.
think about training like
I'll
Nesta.
think about it.
Yeah.
I'll mentally prepare.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can't.
Oh my gosh. But as Hunt and Bryce are kind of learning more about each other, they have a little cute banter moment where Hunt admits to kind of thinking about Bryce. I wouldn't say in a more romantic light, I would say more lustful.
Mhm.
But essentially, he also apologizes to Bryce for considering her as a suspect, for judging her, and for thinking that she was nothing more than a party girl. And Bryce responds saying, I'd rather people think the worst of me. It lets me see their true personalities or their intentions, which honestly kind of smart.
Yeah.
But Hunt orders them food, and Bryce admits to Hunt not being a total jerk. Um, and then after dinner, Bryce goes to bed. Hunt gets to go to his room that he just unlocked, and he starts snooping around a little bit. But he admires the photos that are in there. One is specifically of Ember, and then he recognizes Randall, who is Bryce's stepdad. He is a legendary sharpshooter and war hero. Um, the funniest part to this for me is Hunt says he had no idea he missed this fact in her file, though he supposed he had been skimming while he read it a few years ago. And my question is, how fast do we think this case could have been solved if Hunt had actually just not skimmed over files and used that pretty little head of his?
Probably pretty fast.
Yeah. Probably a little bit faster. And there's like a couple times where it's like, oh, the 33rd didn't notice this.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the beginning when she like goes and gets her nails done. And
Yeah.
then they figure out why, and he's like, the 33rd, I guess, missed it. It's
Like,
literally your
okay.
job, Angel Police.
Not very good
Yeah,
detectives
no,
here.
they're doing a bad job.
Or
Someone
was
needs
someone
to
trying
audit
to
them.
cover stuff up?
Oh, maybe. It's possible.
That's interesting.
That's a theory.
But even I think I read it in this chapter, or maybe I read it yesterday whenever we were going through notes for the chapters that we're covering. And they do mention like a specific thing that's a really big deal in the end that we're like, oh, this is what this thing means. And I'm like, you didn't think to just, I don't know, investigate, which is part of your job description.
Ask
I
some
think we could have cracked
questions.
the code, buddy.
We would be better detectives.
Just a pretty angel boy.
Yes,
You know.
doing his best.
He's just doing his best.
He's
He just wants to
putty
wear his hat
boy.
backwards and watch Sunball. Give him a break.
Which, honestly,
yep,
you go for it,
Yeah.
my dude.
more power to you.
This is in the second book. It's not a big thing, but we can always cut it out. But I'm going to mention it because I think it's funny. But there's like a specific scene where he and Bryce are just like in the gym working out, and he's on a treadmill, hat backwards, listening to an audiobook. And then there was one day I was doing the exact same thing, and I texted my friend, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm Hunt.
Embracing your inner Hunt Athalar in your voice.
That's awesome. I love that.
Jinx!
Nah, Jinx.
But aside from that photo in the room, there's one more photo that he looks at, and it is a photo of Danica and Bryce. And in this photo, he makes the connection that the jacket that Bryce has been wearing is actually Danica's jacket. And on the back of that jacket, it says, "Through love, all is possible," in the ancient language, which I thought was very interesting because whenever I'm like a big fan art girly, and anytime I see fan art, I just see it in like English. So like we know what it says, like we can read it, but I'm like, I don't think I've ever seen anyone like make fan art with Danica's jacket, but in the ancient language. So if there's any fan art people out there, I challenge you. Jacket with ancient language.
That's interesting. I forgot that it was in the ancient language.
I sure did too.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen like a different like an accurate version of that then.
It's been a second since I've read Crescent City. Doesn't she also have it tattooed on her back?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that's in the ancient language too, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Wild.
I have theories. I will wait until the spoiler section.
Yes, to the spoilers we go.
But the last thing about this photo is that as Hunt is looking at it, he kind of says that Bryce and Danica look like warriors that had just come from battle. Danica is sitting with her sword as lying behind both of them, sat on a rock, and Bryce is looking banged up. She has bruises all over her, and she has a bandage wrapped around her arm. And essentially, Hunt falls asleep thinking that photo because not only do they look like warriors, but also it's a time that he thinks that both of the girls truly look like they're at peace, which I thought was very cute.
Yeah, and that wraps up chapter 27. So chapter 28, we're still in the same setting. So Hunt fell asleep. As he was sleeping in the bed in Bryce's apartment, the scent of a male was in the air. As Hunt's senses spiked up, he grabbed the knife and prepared to defend himself, only to find Syrinx in the room. When he looked around and he noticed the door was wide open, because Syrinx is very sneaky and can open things and go through things, and Bryce has literally no idea. But Hunt knows. He was worried that Bryce left without saying anything while he was sleeping. So when he was walking around, he found her still sleeping herself, tattoo showing all the way down her back. Juniper appeared in the apartment and was shocked to see Hunt in the house, obviously. But once she got over that moment, she was like, I'm going to go wake Bryce up. So she wakes Bryce up and has brought breakfast. Juniper notes about the bombing and asks who might have done it. She does note the evidence about the device being brought into the back with the logo for the humans on a box. They still do not know at this point, though, if this was connected to the horn. So whatever evidence kind of was out the night before still stuck around the next day, as far as like theories go in the media. We know that the Raven is destroyed, and Juniper has been in contact with Fury, who mentioned that there is now a bounty on whoever did this. And the bounty was put on there by the butterfly shifter who owned the Raven. He's real mad. I can't imagine a butterfly being upset, but I know I know he's probably real mad. I just can imagine like fluttering around.
Or being like the little, like the caterpillar in Alice in Wonderland.
Yes.
Yes.
Angry
That's
man.
exactly what I'm thinking of, actually.
That's perfect. He's like, this sucks. Bryce is upset in this moment, though, because when she hears like Fury has been in contact with her, Fury has not contacted Bryce, I think, since the 2 years. So she's like, oh, okay, well, she can talk to you. That's interesting. Or she can't reach out to Bryce, but she can come into town for a bounty. Juniper, however, defends her pretty quickly, though, and tells her that people grieve in different ways. And she says Fury's answer to this was to bail, right? Like, Fury also lost the pack that night. Everybody lost the pack. It wasn't just Bryce. And I think it's hard for Bryce to think about it that way. So she apologizes for hitting Bryce, and Bryce obviously forgave her because she doesn't care about her own life either way. So she was like, it's fine. It's not a big deal. Juniper also calls her out for having a handsome angel in her apartment. And Bryce is like, he's just a bodyguard. He literally doesn't matter. And then she is running late. So she has to rush out the door because she's late for practice. So she throws breakfast on the counter and asks Hunt to do his job, which is protecting Bryce. Breakfast happened to be chocolate croissants. And I know this seems unimportant, but this food item is one I would like you guys to remember. So I'm not going to tell you why, but this is a key moment, okay? So keep chocolate croissants in your mind. As Hunt is attempting to get settled into his new situation, he makes some demands. I'm not going to say requests because he doesn't position it as a request. He says, I need keys to the apartment, first of all, and I need changed enchantments so he has access, which is basically like he needs the code for the alarm system. Bryce calls him an alpha hole, which we have heard this, but this is the first time that Hunt is actually hearing this word aloud. And this is what this means. She says this is possessive and aggressive. It's men who rip off their shirt in the slightest provocation. They know how to kill someone in 20 different ways. They have females falling all over them, and then when they finally get to bang one, they go on a full mating frenzy, and then they make rules about who like can look at her and when she can eat and how she should dress and all of these things. And she says that alpha holes have favorite hobbies, which are brooding, fighting, and roaring. And they have 30 different snarls. And once one of them mates, they all follow suit.
Sounds like an advertisement for an action figure.
Yeah, I love that we get like a breakdown of what an alpha hole really means. I'm sure we all have some of those in our life.
But it does not apply to Hunt.
No, at this moment, maybe just a little.
No.
In Bryce's eyes, she's like, she thinks he's full alpha hole.
I think that she's annoyed that he's so hot and that she's like all flustered.
Mhm.
She's
And
like
she's trying
deflecting.
to, yep,
She's like, you're just an alpha hole.
yep.
That's awesome. Yeah, you're probably not wrong. And so Hunt is like, girl, what the fuck are you actually talking about? And then I also thought about it. Like, if you think of the list, like brooding and fighting and roaring, all these things, can you imagine him trying any of that with Shahar? No way.
Mm-mm.
Like, none of it. Like, you can't eat here and you can't drink. No. If anything, it was the other way around. Shahar was the alpha hole,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to tell an archangel when she gets to see her friends.
Mm-hmm.
So and obviously Bryce doesn't know that, right? But like Hunt's like, I don't think that that's right. But I digress. So he mentions once more that he does need a key and the enchantments do need change. So that way he can do his job and protect her. He calls her sweetheart once again. What? Sierra,
kills me.
what
It
are your
kills
thoughts
me.
on this? Madison and I are on very different pages.
The whole sweetheart thing.
Yes.
It's okay.
We're
Let
on
me
different
tell you
sides.
something.
Tell us.
Okay. The whole like name calling, there's definitely a very different vibe between the first time he does it that you were mentioning where it was like on the rooftop where
Mhm.
he was it was kind of like derogatory,
Mhm.
like, okay, sweetheart, whatever you say. But like as the book goes on, every time he calls her sweetheart, it like gets a little bit more
Yes.
heartfelt. And so I don't know, is this like the second or third time he calls her
This
sweetheart?
is a second.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's like starting to evolve
Mhm.
into like an actual like, okay, sweetheart, and you're just like, I melt every time
She's
because
gone.
I'm like
Yeah.
you're falling in love with her. Okay.
Yes.
It kills
So
me.
Bryce even calls him out in this. She's like, don't call me that. Like in this moment. Eventually, I
Mhm.
think she'll be like, it's fine. But for right now, she's like, stop. That's
Right.
enough.
Because
But
still
again, she's probably
they're like
deflecting.
they're not like at the level where
Yes.
it's like truly a heartfelt sweetheart,
Exactly.
you know? And so, but it's like getting there. And like I said, I think that she's deflecting. I think that she's like
Mhm.
totally, like maybe slowly falling for him, but it's just like she's not prepared for something like that after Connor and all that. So
Yeah, exactly. And so Hunt informs her that anywhere one of them goes, the other one has to go as well. No exceptions. And that wraps up chapter 28. It's a short but sweet chapter.
I still think sweetheart's cute.
I also, if Hunt called me that, I'd fold.
It
So
becomes
fast.
cute. It just doesn't start cute.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
I mean, but I feel like that's how a lot of things are. Like, I even had a conversation with a few girls 2 days ago where we were talking about the pet name Princess because some of them find it to be like very degrading and demeaning.
Mhm.
And the only, because I feel like I've heard of it in like fanfics, but I feel like the only book that I've read where like Princess was the pet name used, it was Twisted Games, but it was like her title, but then it also like turned into her pet name.
Mm-hmm. I love the microtrope of a pet name being derogatory at first and turning into something that really means something as the
Mhm.
relationship unfolds. I can't think of another example off the top of my head, but
Would you count violence as one? Like from Fourth Wing?
maybe not as much, just because we kind of know that what Satan was thinking like the whole time, and it was always kind of a positive thing for him.
Yeah.
But along those lines, yeah, where it's
Mhm.
just like a nickname that might not have meant a ton at the beginning that turns into meaning something really, really important later on.
Yeah.
Like this sweetheart thing. Oh, I love it. I love it.
Ooh. Then I propose a question. What do we think of Darling? Like, whenever Reese's like favorite Darling, but he like, I think the first time, does he call her Darling the first time under the mountain?
I think so.
I cannot remember.
Yes. But that's the same thing where it's like now after reading the whole series, we know what his feelings were the whole time.
Mhm.
So I think that was like always a positive thing for him. Maybe not for her, but like maybe on her side it evolved into something that was positive,
Yeah.
you know? Yeah, I like
But
that.
Hunt truly meant it like derogatory in the very, very beginning.
Yes, 100%. And then it evolved into something cute.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Going into chapter 29. This chapter opens with Hunt trailing Bryce as she walks to work. And now that Hunt and Bryce kind of had like their little their little one-on-one, their little heartfelt conversations. Hunt is now trying to see, or not trying, he is seeing Bryce in a different light. So with all the info he's gained from her personal details, as she's seeing her walking to work, he's seeing her clothes, comparing her clothes, her hair, her makeup to essentially the armor, guns, and blades that he wears to battle. Except he says that the only difference is that he doesn't wear lingerie under his armor. And in my notes, I'm like, listen, Hunt, don't underestimate the power and confidence of a matching set, because it works. Like, don't knock
100%.
it till you try it. But not only is she using her clothes and her looks as an armor, but she's also walking Syrinx in front of her, and him alone is causing pedestrians to give Bryce quite a bit of distance, because I guess apparently chimeras are their personality to people who do not know them is that they are very volatile pets and they are prone to biting. And whenever I think of Syrinx, that just isn't what my baby would do.
I know. Like all of the fan art I see is like a pug with wings. And I'm like,
The pug lion
just
cat
so
thing.
cuddly.
In the Madison was saying in a previous episode that in the dramatized version of this, Syrinx makes cat sounds.
Yeah, they have him yowling and
weird.
purring. I was like, that's not my dog.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I don't know if that's right, but I guess it is. So pug dog cat thing, lion
There you
tail,
go.
lion butt, cat sounds.
Pug dog cat thing. That's what I'm gonna call him now.
Yeah, I don't know how else to describe it because he's just a mixture of all of the best animals. So
I just know he's adorable.
yes, 100%.
For sure.
He rules the house.
Oh yeah.
But as they're walking, and once they get to the Griffin Antiques, Hunt starts to ask Bryce about her relationship with Rune a little bit. We know about the relationship from Rune. At this point in time, Hunt doesn't know, but he kind of has like a little bit of clues. So Bryce says, Rune and I were close for a few years when I was a teenager. Then we had a big fight. We stopped talking after that. She says that it started off as a fight about his father, how much the Autumn King is a piece of crap, and how Rune is essentially wrapped around the Autumn King's finger. And then it developed into them screaming about each other's flaws, and ended with Rune saying that Bryce was flirting with his friends like a shameless hussy and to stay away from them. She says that although Hunt does recall hearing Bryce mention how Rune once called her a half-breed slut, so he's like, you're putting in like a nicer version, but he's like, I kind of know the realer version of how more intense it was. But Bryce also mentions how the person she hates the most in the world is her father, who Hunt does not know who that is yet. And Hunt responds saying that for him, it is Sandriel. He would go more into it. We kind of get in his head his beef with Sandriel, but he says it's not the conversation for busy streets. But Bryce says that if he ever wants to talk about it, that she'll listen. And then he said, same for her. And I'm like, that's cute. We love supporting other people and their feelings.
I love it. He needs that.
He sure does. Yes,
Really
they
badly.
both do. They both need to talk to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
They got a lot harboring in there.
I wonder if therapy is the thing in Crescent City now, actually.
I want to say Juniper might have mentioned that she's gone to therapy in later chapters.
That's so fun. I love that detail. That's great.
Yeah. Therapy is real in Lunathian.
Begs the question, why the hell has Bryce not done that? / Hunt. I guess I know why Hunt hasn't done it. Hunt is not the one for therapy.
No.
But
Can you
also,
imagine?
I don't think he would have been given access to it.
That's very true. Yeah.
Yeah, Micah's like, no therapy for you.
Yeah.
I can't.
Weird.
There might be another rebellion. You go to therapy. Bryce has no excuse though. Girl just needs to go.
Yeah.
They can probably do like teletherapy.
I feel like maybe that just won't be Bryce's style, because I don't think she like opens up as easily with other people. So I feel like to sit in front of a therapist and then be like, okay, tell me what's troubling you. And especially like we just had the whole conversation about her being like, don't call me sweetheart and all that, and like deflecting. I feel like she would 100% deflect with the therapist.
Very true.
Probably true. Well, she can now has the option to talk to Hunt if she would like. At least it's there.
Yeah.
It counts.
So cute. But once they arrive at the library, Rune Dannon, Crown Prince of the Varn Fae, also joins them at the library. Hunt is specifically looking for info on the Crystallos, and Bryce is proposing looking at ancient art, since Hunt's not having any luck looking in ancient text. Lahaba, also known as Lily, is
Best girl
asking
ever.
she's asking Rune all of these questions, but I got a little bit annoyed with Rune because he was giving her very dry answers.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, homeboy didn't even offer her a finger to sit on or tell her that she's beautiful.
Rude.
Shame.
Like,
These crown princes, man.
Mm-hmm.
So entitled.
So entitled.
except for Dorian.
Give
Except for
Lahaba the
Dorian.
respect that she deserves.
Now I need to see Dorian interact with Lahaba.
Dorian would have just like Lahaba just going up, and she wouldn't know what to do with
She would
Dorian
turn
because
purple.
Dorian would match
Purple
her level
flames.
so
Yeah,
hard.
and if she's like
Yes.
overheating, just
Yep.
turn on the little ice hands. There
Mhm.
you go.
She would let me cool you down.
Be perfect.
I love that man so much.
What a moment that would be.
That
I
was
would
so
like that
awesome.
crossover.
Someone write the
Ooh.
fanfic right
Yes,
now.
Lahaba and Dorian meeting for the first time.
Oh, my baby.
She is my. I will die on this hill. I love fire sprites so much.
They're so cute.
They're the best. I told Madison this, like, I want to be Bryce, right? Like, I want to be like strong and confident and all these. I am Lahaba. I actually just hang out on the couch and watch.
Not a bad thing to be.
Except you don't watch reality TV.
I watch Farmer Wants a Wife. It counts. I would watch Fangs and Bangs if Lahaba would watch it with me.
Oh yeah.
I would watch it for her.
Yeah.
So.
What a life. That'd be amazing.
I know. I'm gonna chill on the couches and just yell at books all day.
I want to know more about the fire sprites, like, really badly, and like the whole queen that they have. And like, it's just like mentioned in passing. I'm like, hold on, wait a second, give me more of that, please, because the whole fire magic thing is such a big deal in Throne of Glass. You're like, there's got to be something to the fire sprites, you know?
Agreed, 100%. Ugh, love you, Lahaba. Anyways.
So you have Hunt looking for info on the Crystallos. Bryce is helping. Rune is supposed to be finding info just on the Horn and Fae and just everything under the sun. However, his starborn powers leads him to a romance novel, which I think is hilarious. Literally the book jumps, or it doesn't jump out at him, it calls to him, but is the greatest romances of the Fae. And Bryce says, "Are you sure that starborn power isn't for finding smut? That one's right up your alley." And I love one that smut is canon in both Crescent City and the Akatar universes. And two, I love that whoever was the historian was like very Jasenia coded from Fourth Wing, and she's like, you know what? Smut needs to be included. Like, this is a very vital part of history. Like, the people need to know.
Yes.
Ooh, rapid fire question. Funny. If smut was in Throne of Glass, which character would read it?
Selena.
And Dorian.
Hard stop.
They would have a book club, and it would be like the filthiest things.
And then they would like try to get Kael to read it, and he would just like burn his eyes out.
Do you know who I think would read it?
Who?
Lorcan.
He would, but he wouldn't admit it.
And that's where he learned what Lorcan did.
Yeah, what Lorcan did, which we'll never know.
Gosh.
And okay,
lucky lead.
Love Lorcan so much because whenever I was reading Throne of Glass, whenever he and Alid are like hiding with the circus, and Alid goes into the tent and sees him not only juggling swords, but juggling, and she mentions him like covered in oil. I'm like, he knew what he was doing. He did that on purpose.
He has read some serious smut, this man. I mean, he probably read some like pretty accurate written by women smut, and that's how he learned that she needed stuff for her girl time.
Yeah, feminine hygiene products. Lorcan is my man.
He knows the female body, and that's all we can ask for.
Lorcan, what is out of all the men in Throne of Glass, Lorcan is my number one.
Oh my gosh, I
I
love
think
him.
Dorian might be in my number one. Lorcan is a close second.
And you have a
love it.
Lorcan scent, correct?
Hell yeah. And it makes me
Ladies,
drool.
she has a
It's
Lorcan
amazing.
scent that sign
It's
me
like
up.
this. It's like this dry gin and oak. Oh my gosh.
Ooh,
It's amazing.
I'm 100% here for that.
Highly
I'm
recommend.
gonna have to look into
Yes.
that.
And the smell like Lorcan.
So good.
But I love how like Lorcan and Dorian, they're like, "Oh, you're going through your cycle. Like, I'm here for you, girly pop. Like, tell me what you need."
I
And then
know.
Selena tells Kale, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, like, can you not? Like, that's disgusting." I'm like, "Kale, you little toddler."
You need some help.
Kale
He's
is
my
in a Sabrina
favorite book
Carpenter
toddler.
song.
Hmm.
Kale is in a Sabrina Carpenter song.
Manchild.
Yeah.
He definitely is. I will say I am 1000% a Kale girly. However,
Me
I
too.
hated him in Queen of Shadows. I wanted to punch his face so hard. But
I feel like that's a rite of passage.
yes.
I'm okay with
100%.
him now.
Yeah. He had
I'm
his
like,
moments.
all right,
I
but I don't love
loved
it.
him. Tower and Dawn, I think, is like tied for first, or like my second favorite book in the series.
Yes.
That's a
I
hot
love
take.
a good character
Loved
growth
it.
story.
It is a hot take, and I will
It's a
stand
hot
by
take.
it.
Thank you.
I love Tower of Dawn. I just love a good
Especially-
redemption arc, you know?
And I love Irene and her putting him in his place. And she's
Yes.
like, "Can you use your manhood?" And he's like, "Yeah." And she's like, "To completion." And he's silent. He's like, "I'm gonna write no."
Yep.
I'm like, "Yes,
So
girl."
iconic. She was taking
Shame.
none of his shit. It was amazing. I loved it so much. It is exactly what he needed.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Ah,
100%.
so good.
Ugh, we love picking on men.
Yeah.
Um,
You're right.
But as they're in the library, Rune does get a text from Deck with the intel that Bryce wanted. It's all the locations that Danica went as part of her duties as leader of the Pack of Devils, as well as her extracurricular activities. And Bryce finds out that Danica was actually stationed at Luna's temple 2 nights before the horn was stolen, as well as the same night as the blackout, which is also the same night that the horn is stolen. And I think it's very interesting that like she specifically writes the blackout instead of saying like, oh, and also like the same night. I feel like it's could be like a way to just like throw people off with like how much information she throws at people.
Mm-hmm.
But as Ruin is reading his little romance book, he tells us that is the story of Prince Peleus, which is he was a high general to Fae Queen Thea, and he had a bride named Lady Helena. They entered the world during the crossing, and Thea had 2 daughters that both Thea and Helena possessed the same power. Also, during this story, Helena is the only daughter that's mentioned. But as he's reading, he learns that only the horn works for the Starborn Fae, and that the broken horn can only be prepared by light that is not light and magic that is not magic. Um, and he also mentions the fact that Starborn magic, his words not mine, Starborn magic and a bunch of other crap can be used to bring objects to life. If you join us into the House of Theories and Lores, I have so many words. I had a lot of words last week. The many more words continue. So if you're a part
so excited.
of House and Theory Lore, buckle up, baby. It's going to be a ride.
Buckle up.
Listen, I went hard last week.
Sometimes you just say the best things. You say like one-liner bangers, and I love it.
Thank you. I try. Sometimes it's
Cute.
successful. Sometimes I'm like, I'm just going to go hide under a table because that was embarrassing.
PRP. That's funny.
But as they're talking, Hunt is like, why not go to the Oracle and ask for info about the horn? And Ruin and Bryce are like, about that, you see, we would, but no. So Hunt's like, fine, I'll do it. So Hunt makes that plan. He does leave the store. He's like, hold on, I got a phone call. I'll be right back. Rune also leaves because he has an Ox meeting. So now it's just Bryce and Lily in the room. And Lily says, your cousin is dreamy. And Bryce says, I thought Athalar was your one true love. And she says, can't they both be? Considering how terrible they are at sharing, I don't think that would end well for any of you. Have you ever heard the trend where it's like RIP a character you would have loved blank? Like one that I see a lot is like RIP Reese and you would have loved Lint Rollers.
That's so funny. Oh my gosh.
One for me that I was thinking of whenever I was writing this, I was like, RIP Lily, you would have loved Why Choose or Reverse Harem.
She deserves that.
She would have eaten that up.
She's like, that's a book I'll protect.
I mean, if they have smut in that library, she could probably find some.
There might be one in there.
Maybe it was in the book Rune was reading. We'll never know.
We'll never know.
But the chapter ends with Hunt getting a text and telling Bryce to be prepared to leave to go to the comitium in 5 minutes. He calls her sweetheart again. And I know how Dallas feels about it, but I was giggling and kicking my feet.
I also, yep.
It's not bad the whole time. It's just
gets
when
better, like I'm saying.
it gets better. Yes, and I do love Hunt. Like I am Hunt girly.
Yes.
But in the beginning,
it's icky.
It's the trope where I think I'm supposed to feel icky about it.
Yes.
I think Sarah wanted that.
I'm just a sucker for a good pet name.
I am also. It kills.
I'm here for it. So that wraps up chapter 29. So we're going to go into chapter 30. Hunt and Bryce walk through the comitium, which is like Angel Police Department, essentially. This building is huge and holds thousands of workers. So just to kind of give you like a visual of what we're looking at, as they're walking through the building that Hunt has been in many times, obviously because he's worked there for a long time, it is still noted that everyone avoided him, not because he was unkind, but because they knew who he was, the shadow of death and Micah's personal assassin. As they entered the elevator, Bryce turned to face and whipped Hunt in the face with her high ponytail. This has zero importance. I just 100% have been there, and there have been many victims to my high ponytail. Like, whoosh. Many people have been blinded, and I relate to that.
It's iconic, actually.
It really is. Like, and every time now since I read the book, I put up my high ponytail. I'm like, who am I going to injure today?
Easy peasy.
Yes, exactly. So they went and got Bryce a new phone because she lost hers in the club, obviously, again, with that explosion. As Bryce was looking through Hunt's phone, she realizes that he only has a few photos from the last 4 years, and most of them are from crime scenes, which is gross for Bryce. I thought that was super interesting, but that's just me. Bryce is like, ew, that's disgusting. And so Bryce asked why he never captured a good moment in his life, like even a flower or something that even brought him a little bit of joy. And he asked what the point of that was. That's so sad.
I know.
He's like, what's the point?
Homeboy needs some help.
No, he sure does. So to fix this, she snapped a photo of herself. Good job, Bryce.
She's like, I love it. She quickly became like top 3 Sarah J. Maas characters for me, just from stuff like that, you know.
She's like, oh, you don't have anything on here? Let me help you.
Let me fix that for you.
Exactly.
Even if you didn't ask me to.
So as they exited the elevator, ended up at the hallway in the dorms, basically into Hunt's room. Bryce mentions maybe Hunt has a girlfriend or someone in his life, but all he can think about was Shahar and Sandril's sword, which again, Sandril is her sister, and the sword going right through Shahar. And then Hunt notes something very interesting. He says, I was born a bastard. And I want our listeners to ask yourself this. If his mother had no riches or importance and he was born without a father, how is Hunt Athalar so powerful? Not one person on the planet has the same power as him. So for our listeners, again, if you're just reading up to this moment, I want you to keep that question in your mind. At first, Bryce is like, what does this have to do with anything? Like, I don't know what you're saying. And Hunt notes that, again, his mother, she didn't have any money. She had no importance. So there's no people lining up to be with him. There's no one being like, hey, you're of real importance. Like, I want to be in this line with you. Nobody is there. And we also learn in this chapter that Hunt made the drop at 28 years old. His mother had just died, as Madison had mentioned earlier, and mentally he was really unwell. So again, he got a government official to anchor him, and he states that it doesn't matter anyways because once he got his crown 5 years later, his power was cut and he was never the same. Sierra, I ask you the question, what is the best age to do the drop?
Oof. Like, is there a correct answer?
It's just your opinion. We have ours. We've talked about in previous episodes. So once you say your answer, we'll tell you ours.
Okay. I honestly would say that for these people, it would probably be best to do it younger just because it's how you come into your power. And if they're living for so long, then they want to live life to the fullest, right? And so they would probably want that power sooner.
Yeah.
That being said, it's a hard as hell thing to go through, you know?
Mhm.
So you might want to be a little more prepared. So I would say, honestly, the age that he did it at was probably a little early. If they're living so long, I don't know, 40, but I'm not even sure.
If you had to make the drop, what age would you make the drop? Like you
Okay,
personally.
listen. You've heard the thing. You've heard the thing where like your brain doesn't actually finish becoming a brain until you're like 25.
Yes, the frontal lobe.
I swear to you, I'm 26, okay? I felt something click last year. I'm not even joking you. So like at least 25. Because I feel like if I made the drop before 25, it would have just like exacerbated everything bad about like who I was, and it would just be a nightmare. So I would say at least 25.
Forever.
At least 25. Yeah.
I never thought it. I didn't think about it that way. That's hilarious. I picked 30.
Okay. Yeah.
21-year-old me would be like 100% I'm ready. But then like
Oh.
30-year-old me is like, this is a better age.
Yeah. It would
This
feel
is a better choice.
It would feel right. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like 30 is great. That's so funny. So Bryce asked him a very big question that no one has ever asked him before. Do you ever regret the rebellion? They were definitely not in the place to talk about this at the moment. So we're not asking these questions right now because they're literally like in the police station essentially. And it's noted that he doesn't have anything on his walls. And he says it's bad luck to hang anything on the walls because we learned that Micah could legit trade him at any moment. And so if he hangs something up, he's going to have to go. So if Micah passes his assets, angels included. So like, let's say like if Micah died, right? The angels are included in those assets. And so it gets passed to his predecessor. And if there is not one listed, they're divided among all of the archangels. And not one of them would honor the agreement Micah made with Hunt. So it is imperative that he stays alive right now. As Hunt is gathering up his supplies, he gets a call that his request to meet with Briggs was approved and that it would take a few days because they have to clean him up from literal torture. And again, we have mentioned to you guys that Philip Briggs is an important name to remember because he was originally the suspect for killing the pack. We learned that he probably wasn't the one to kill the pack, but we aren't sure yet officially. So Philip Briggs is in prison. He's being transported to basically an interview area, but they have to make sure that he is presentable because he has been tortured for a long time now. 2 years essentially since he was released and then brought back into custody. And also, the Oracle made room for Hunt to meet with her first thing in the morning. As they exited the elevator to exit the building, Hunt stiffened and everyone around them knelt down. The amount of power in the room could be felt by literally everyone. Micah stood there with one of the worst archangels to walk the planet. And that ends chapter 30.
Chills.
I know. It was a big deal. I was like, whoop.
Oh, the series is so good.
Every chapter ends on like a banger.
And you just like, you have to keep going, even though like I remember when I started this and the first page is like, I saw a werewolf shifter on my video monitor and I was like, hold up.
What's happening?
I just came from like none of this stuff happening in Terracin. I'm gonna need a minute.
Well, I think that's why it's so overwhelming for a lot of people to read this book
totally.
and this series because it's so high tech and there's like cell phones and video cameras and all these things, but there's still magic and fantasy and swords. And I think people are like, what's happening?
But I always tell people, I'm like, you just have to get through like the first 200 pages. I know that that's a lot, but
yeah,
it picks up and it's so good.
It's one of my favorite series, truly.
So chapter 31 picks up exactly where we left off. Everyone is kneeling and essentially bowing to Sandriel. However, Hunt and Bryce remain standing and Sandriel spots Hunt. And Hunt is kind of having like sort of a little mini panic attack. Like even his powers aren't coming to his fingertips like they normally do in these situations. But to save Hunt and to kind of pull him out of his subconscious, Bryce turns the volume all the way up on her phone and takes a selfie with the archangels behind her and thanks Hunt for taking her to see them. Which I'm like, that's really creative, but I'm like, I could never. I wish I had that confidence.
Oh, she's so funny.
But after the photo, Bryce kind of pulls Hunt to follow her along into an elevator and she kind of just presses a button, hope it works because she technically doesn't have clearance anywhere. Micah does confront them and asks Hunt like what that was all about and why are they even here? Why is Bryce even here? Because again, she doesn't have clearance. And Hunt explains that he came to get extra clothes to stay at Quinlan's and that Isaiah gave him clearance to bring her. Whenever, though, Bryce and Hunt try to enter the elevator, Micah grabs Bryce and says that he would like to take her to dinner. And Bryce says that she is not interested. Like, wow.
Ouch.
Get it, girl.
After Hunt,
Drop him to his knees.
I have more words. But as Hunt grabs his things, he takes Bryce to the landing to fly their way out just to avoid seeing Sandriel again. Bryce refuses to look down as they're flying because I would too. That's scary. Like there's no safety net, no parachute. Like I would be clinging on for dear life. As they're flying, Hunt's kind of taking in the city, all the different areas. And he asks Bryce why she chose to live in the city and not the meadows like her parents or Fyro like Rune. And she responds saying that for her, the city's the safest place for someone like her because it's close to work and everything. And essentially, she wouldn't have to worry about people calling her names. He then asked if she meant what she said about not being interested in Micah. And when she asks why she should be interested, Hunt assumes it's because of Micah's status, his power, his reputation with females. Then Bryce goes on a little tangent. Like, I get it, but to me, I was like, hold on. If you'd like to follow along in your little Crescent City Bibles, it is going to be on page 316.
Hold on, let me grab mine. Here we go.
All right.
I'm ready.
So, Bryce says as she unlocked her door, like I said, not interesting. Hunt says, you sure it's not because you're just avoiding? See, that right there is the problem. You and the whole rest of the world seem to think I exist just to find someone like him. That, of course, can't be genuinely not interested, because why wouldn't I want a big, strong male to protect me? Surely, if I'm pretty and single, the second any powerful veneer shows interest, I am bound to drop my panties. In fact, I didn't even have a life until he showed up. Never have good sex, never felt alive. I get it. However, whenever I'm reading, I am like leaving the real world behind. I'm like, when I'm reading, I would love for a big, strong, powerful man to like just dote on me. Like, yes, in real life, like, sure, give a man a hard time. Like, don't put up with their crap. But whenever I'm reading, I'm like, maybe consider big, strong, powerful man.
Just consider
Maybe?
him.
Just a little bit.
For me.
Oh my gosh.
That's such a funny page, actually.
And
I
swoon
love
whenever he
that.
says sweetheart.
That's so funny. And I'm like, say it louder for the men in the back, Bryce.
Seriously.
So many people like think of that line in different lights. In real world, I would be like, yes, girl boss Bryce. But
In
when
fantasy
reading,
world,
and I'm just like,
you're like,
like,
you're 7 feet tall. Say no more.
like,
Yes.
can I just have
Hello.
Lorcan wrap me in his arms?
Fair.
100%.
Yes. All right. I see your point. I don't disagree.
But that's essentially where chapter 31's end. It's kind of a little bit of a filler chapter, but it's still fun.
It was fun. So then we have chapter 32. So Bryce is planning on going through all of Danica's location data and cross-referencing it to things. Hunt did not want to be underground at this point, so he doesn't want to go down to the library. He needs like some fresh air because he just went through a lot. So he's going to sit on the rooftop, and when she was looking through it, she ultimately found nothing of importance. So nothing to add to the case yet. Hunt asked once again to watch the TV. He was originally on the rooftop where he was like asking for the curtains to be open, but she was like, no, and she closed them. And Bryce is kind of put off with the fact that he even wants to watch TV because she's like, that's not how I picture you, right? You're not allowed to watch TV in my mind. You're supposed to like be just like angel of death all the time. And he's like, what do you think I do in my spare time? And so she says what he might do in his spare time is curse at the stars, brood, and plot revenge on his enemies. So those are the things that Hunt is supposed to be doing as Bryce portrays it. But no, he does like to watch some Sunball every once in a while. Hunt received a phone call and they both cringed. Micah was on the line and informed Hunt that he had work for him tonight. This was a punishment for what happened in the lobby. However, this punishment was basically a warning because if Hunt was still under Sandriel's command, it would have been 100 times worse and lasted for months. So, again, for not bowing, not following orders, embarrassing him, and probably Bryce rejecting him as well, all thrown into one. Micah does confirm that the bargain still stands and that it could also be pulled at any moment, so Hunt needs to be careful. Hunt does not tell Bryce that he has a job, tells her it was for Legion business instead, and sends her on her way. She obviously sees right through this, but she's like, good luck, have fun. And Jacinia had to come over and watch Bryce. So she's still being watched, she's still being protected. Hunt flies off and he gets the file from the barracks and the mark with the location, which was a cougar shifter. And again, I think this is where it gets a little like these books can sometimes be overwhelming because there are so many characters. It's a cougar shifter. The cougar shifter is important at this moment, does not come back. So you guys don't have to be like, oh, I need to remember this cougar shifter. It's just kind of to lay out what Hunt is doing in this moment. Because again, once he has a job for him, this is how it goes. So once the job was done, he went back and took a scalding shower. That part is important to remember. He cleans himself up and relieved Jacinia of her watch. He doesn't really want to talk to anyone. He doesn't want to talk to Bryce. So she kind of says some small words to him, and he closes the door and goes to bed. And that wraps up 32. It's a very short, quick chapter, but it does have a lot of emotion in it. But that's where we end for the week, which is so exciting. So if you are staying around, we are about to enter the house of theories and lore. If you are not, this is where you will log off. And then once you are done reading the Crescent City series, you can come back to all of our episodes and hang out with us for these theories. Before we go into that, Sierra, is there anything for our listeners that might be logging off that you would like them to know about Wonderwick?
Yes. Okay. I actually have some exciting news, and you guys are the first to hear it. So I don't know if you guys have heard anything about the whole Sarah J. Maas licensing huge craze that's going on. There are some hard feelings, lots of change going on.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, from a business perspective, Sarah J. Maas is growing like crazy, and so she just needed a better licensing company to cover all of her bases, you know? So from a business perspective, it is a smart choice for her to go to IMG. Completely understand all of the hard feelings with small businesses. I am a small business. It's a hard time. There's a lot of change. I worked endlessly on my application. I asked my followers and customers for input on what it would mean for our license to continue. And I even sent in a secondary application. And I just had a call with the vice president of IMG licensing yesterday. And when I tell you I was so nauseous for 4 days before this call, I took a pregnancy test because I was so like I was so nauseous that I was like, there's no way that I'm not pregnant because I'm so nauseous. I'm not, it's fine. But I got on this call and she was like, oh yeah, one of my girlfriends told me about your company. We want to make this work. So we are right now talking about a contract to continue working together. It's not set in stone, but I am very excited to hopefully continue to make these products and bring the Sarah J. Maas all of her stuff to life, because this is really my dream job. So I'm super excited that this is all happening, and it was so funny being on that call with her, you guys, because she was just like, oh yeah, I talked to Sarah yesterday, and I'm like, I'm sorry.
So casual.
As one does.
What? I literally, I had to stop for a second. I'm like, you're telling me I have 1 degree of separation from Sarah J. Maas right now? Like you've got to be. I was sweating. I was literally sweating on this call, and she I'm sworn to secrecy, but she did drop some pretty fun details about projects that are happening within the Sarah J. Maas universe. It's crazy. There's a lot of stuff happening, and it's really, really fun. And so you guys heard it here first. I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
I'm literally screaming internally right now.
There's so
That
much
is
happening.
wild.
It's
Well,
crazy.
amazing.
Thank
I'm going to say
you.
congratulations.
Thank
Like,
you so
even
much.
though it's not like 100% done deal set in stone, I think that your product is incredible. I think what you create is incredible. We have smelt it and had it firsthand. Like, your website is beautiful. And I think that you can see how much love and effort you and your team put into this business and these products to make them as accurate as you possibly can. So
Thank you.
I think that it would be in the licensing firm's best interest to keep you as part of the Sarah J. Maas.
Well, thank you. That means a lot. That's the whole point of my company, is to bring that to life and, help people live in these worlds a little longer. So.
Yeah, 100%.
Thank you. That means
So
a lot.
that is amazing. Again, congratulations.
Thank you.
So now you guys, again, you heard it here first, a Goodest Girls exclusive. So again, final warning for our friends who are not going to the House of Theories and Lore with us today. This is your time to pause and then come back to this episode at a later date when you have finished listening and or reading to the full Crescent City series. Okay, welcome to the House of Theories and Lore, my friends. We have a couple awesome questions here for our girl Sierra today. You have annotated your Crescent City book. We saw the tags.
Yeah.
So we are
Got
ready.
it.
Question
Wow.
number 1. Madison, start us
Oh,
off.
yes.
You
Okay.
wrote this one, so I want you to read
I sure did. So this is going back to chapter 27 whenever Hunt is looking through his guest room, and because I've read all the things, I'm like, this is a very interesting note. But he specifically mentions as he's walking in, he's taking in the room. Before we get to the photos, he specifically mentions the bed. And he says how big it is, and that luckily it is large enough to accommodate his wings. And he says that this bed must have been bought with a veneer in mind. So I was in my little head, I was like, what if whenever Danica bought this apartment, like, did she give it to Bryce? Yes. However, what if she bought it, especially that bed in mind, for Baxian?
Oh, she probably did.
That's so sad.
No.
I hate
Oh
that.
my gosh. When I tell you I cried so hard. Because Baxian's like this big macho dude. And then like they figure it out. Isn't it like
Mhm.
underneath the statue or something? He tells them. And you're
Mhm.
just like, you've got to be freaking kidding me. I've already
Like, I
cried
was in
about
love with
Danica.
Danica.
Oh my gosh.
Do you want to hear something super sad
Uh-huh.
to add to it?
Yeah.
I guess.
Someone was saying, like, everyone is at the summit, they're watching everything go down with Bryce, and they're watching and just kind of in shock with hearing Danica as she's like guiding Bryce through the drop and the ascent. And everyone's like, that's cool for Bryce, but this is also the first time in years that Baxian is hearing his mate's voice.
No. No, I didn't even think about that. Oh my
Just
gosh.
casually adding to the trauma.
The emotional impact that the
Yeah.
Okay, I
No.
didn't used to be a reader, right? I started
Mhm.
reading. I feel like this is a common thing where
Yeah.
this Sarah J. Maas stuff got people back into reading, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the biggest like emotional impacts I had before that were like TV shows, obviously, that kind of entertainment. And I cried so much reading this damn book. I think I cried more reading Crescent City 1 than I did with Kingdom of Ash. I don't know why.
Wow.
And I don't know, I can try to show you. I don't think it'll show up, but like my last few pages of this book are like
Mhm.
crinkled and stained because of my tears.
Oh my! It's literally a tear-soaked book.
But now
No.
that I have, okay, wait, hold on. So
That's so sad.
I have these like tabs for they're named like
Mhm.
world building, magic, tech, romance, whatever. And then I have blue ones for where I cried. And so
Aw.
let's see. Page 797 is just big blue tab.
What is chapter like 80, 82 look like?
Also blue tab.
That is me, blue tabs
many blue
all
tabs.
the way. I even, when I re-listened to this in my car,
All blue tabs.
it was like just tears rolling. I'm like driving on the freeway, just like sobbing for the
know.
second time. I know what happens.
I
know.
I never even like thought that words on a page could have that effect on me. And
Yeah.
now I'm just like, my books are stained with tears. It's fine.
They're just seasoned.
It hurts. They're seasoned. Yeah, they're all salty now.
They're so salty.
It's so sad.
I just got to page 797, and Yeah, I
Yep.
would highlight that too when blue.
Yep. It's
gonna
all
be
blue.
blue.
It's all blue.
That's so sad. Oh
Yeah,
my gosh.
Kingdom of
Okay.
Ash is just all blue. Just all blue.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not wrong. You're
Ugh.
not wrong. Okay, so next theory question that we had today. And this was one again that Madison had thought of. So the horn is obviously broken and it can be repaired by light that is not light and magic that is not magic. The question that is proposed is what if the whole like part of the horn is in the cauldron? Or like what if there is a connection between the horn and the cauldron itself?
Mm. Okay, let me gather my thoughts here. So we know that the cauldron from Crescent City 3 is the kill switch to the Akatar world, right? Have we read Crescent City 3? We're all
We're
have the
in full
Infinity
Mass
Gauntlet.
verse.
We're good.
We
There
read
are
Okay.
all
no
the
spoilers.
things.
All
Spoilers.
spoilers are here. If you are in this
Good.
room right now, you have read everything and you know everything.
Because there's a lot of connection.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So, yeah, since it's the kill switch to the Akatar world and the Dread Trove also includes the horn, right? From the crossover and everything. I don't know if it's part of the cauldron as much as it has the cauldron's power.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? So like, okay, there was that sword, can't remember the name right now, but it was dipped in the cauldron and it had like
Gideon.
the power. Yeah. Okay. So that one was dipped in the cauldron. What if the Dread Trove got its crazy powers from also getting dipped in the cauldron?
So are we thinking that the horn at one point was also dipped?
That would probably be more feasible to me than actually being part of the cauldron, because we know like the cauldron in Aka War, it was talking about how like the feet were broken off and spread and the king was like trying to gather the feet to put it back together and have the full power to like break down the wall and whatever.
Yeah.
So unless no, because he found all, I was gonna say like maybe the horn was like made from one of the feet, but he found all three. So I think that would be more feasible, especially because they remade it. They remade the cauldron and there wasn't like a piece missing or whatever. So it would be more feasible to me if like the Dread Trove was made from this like kill switch power that the Asteri put into it, you know, because it's all the Dread Trove has like these crazy amounts of magic, you know, and the cauldron is literally just magic essentially, you know. So that is very interesting though.
I like that it went for a little swim.
Yeah, just like
Dip,
just
dip.
like Amryn. That's interesting. I also have a million theories about Amryn, but you know,
I think Amryn and Fury. I think there's like something there.
because there's the whole thing where like Fury's dad's name is like, or no, there was Thanatos or something in Akatar. I need to re-up on my theories about Fury, but yeah,
yeah, and we don't know a lot about her. Like,
I know,
we know almost nothing about her.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, she's something else. So the next question, do you want to go with this one, Madison? Because I know that you're like, this is like your thing.
Yes. I highly encourage you to check out last week's episode because whenever I read this chapter, the spiral and how fast I was typing, it's like something like overtook my hands whenever I was reading chapter 29. But another part that I'm going to call out is again whenever Rune mentions that the broken horn can only be repaired by light that is not light and magic that is not, or no, not that one. That is specifically Starborn magic and a bunch of other crap can be used to bring objects to life. And I went so hard on this theory last week about the possibilities of Nesta being Starborn because in Silver Flames, it's her book. We get to learn things from her perspective and we get introduced to all of these new things. And two things that she creates is her sword, but not only that, the House of Wind, because I believe it was Cassian who mentions, like, what do you mean, like, the book or the house gives you books, or, like, the house does things for you. And at that point in time, the house has never been sentient for anyone else until Nesta arrived.
Because she needed a friend. Because she was alone.
And again, Rune says that you need Starborn magic in order to bring something to life. And in the end of Crescent City 3, Bryce tells Nesta, go find out what your tattoo means, which is the 8-pointed star, which is the emblem of the Starborn Fae. So I'm telling you,
she also brings Feyre back to life, doesn't she?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I
Nesta's
highly
our
recommend checking
girl.
out last week's episode because I went
Okay.
hard.
100%, because that even gets me thinking about how Nesta hangs out with Ember, and
Mhm.
Ember obviously knows a lot of stuff that maybe she isn't even telling Bryce about her
Right.
heritage and all that stuff. And so maybe she even talked to Nesta about, who she could possibly be. But that also begs the question about the Archeron mom, because if
Oh,
she's
yes.
if Nesta's starborn, what does that mean for Feyre and Elaine? But also, what does that mean for her mom? Is Nesta adopted and they're not? The other two aren't starborn, or like how does that work? If
And go ahead.
yeah, no, it's okay. I was keep going.
I think in my head, whenever I was writing all this stuff down, in my head, because Nesta always says, whenever she's recalling what happened with the cauldron, that she took something from it. So I think that maybe she like wasn't starborn to begin with, but I think she specifically stole starborn magic from the cauldron.
Hold on, I just remembered a quote from the beginning of what is it called? Silver Flames. Oh my gosh. It literally starts, Silver Flames starts with a quote that says that she took a power that was as cold as the space between stars.
Spiral with me.
We're diving in.
Oh my. Hold on. I'm gonna need a second here.
Oh, I love this.
Oh, this is so cool. Okay. I'm doing like a I've read ACOTAR a bazillion times, but I'm doing a Throne of Glass reread this year, and then I'm gonna dive back into Crescent City too. So that's gonna make me spiral even more. A Court of Silver Flames has so much good stuff about
so much.
crossover. Oh my gosh, it's so, and A Court of Frost and Starlight actually too. A lot of people are like, oh, it's just the Christmas special. There
It's
are
my
a couple,
two favorite ones.
I love them, but there
They're
are a
my two
couple
favorites.
couple chapters in A Court of Frost and Starlight where it's talking about like Moore and what happened with her and Eris and all this stuff that are like so important for future crossovers and like all this information. Oh, I love it. This stuff is my jam.
We're diving in.
Oh, it's so good. Okay, that's super interesting. I love that theory.
Also, really quick on the note of Moore, because I had another theory. So whenever in chapter 27, I believe it was, whenever Bryce was saying that Connor and Thorne were supposed to anchor them, and in the beginning of the book, Bryce mentions like watching Danica interact with the pack and like all their personalities, and she specifically mentions how Thorne like had a thing for Danica, but Danica's like kind of entertains it, sometimes doesn't, just like kind of keeps him to the side. I'm like, what if Thorne was for Danica, kind of like how Azriel was to Moore?
Yeah. That unrequited love type thing. Yeah.
That's fair.
And especially, and it's almost the exact same thing, because like Moore has her secret to where she doesn't even like guys, she prefers girls. More power to her. But even like Danica in this moment, like even though she knows that Thorne has a thing for her, she was probably already with Baxing at this time.
Yep. Probably.
So I'm like, you could have told him.
I can't wait to learn more about Moore, honestly.
I know.
It's going to be so good.
It's going to be wild. So here's another question I have. And who do you think is on the cover of each book of Crescent City?
Oh, okay. I think it's the gods. And it goes along with the idea I told you guys earlier about how the fourth book is going to be a house of many waters, However, so the second one, it's got the blue dude. I'm trying to remember. Are there two? Hold on. Let me pull this up.
Here's
Dallas
the book
is getting a
for reference.
There's Solus, Luna,
Erd.
How do you say the C one?
Cathona.
I said Ogenus.
Okay, Ogenus and Cathona. Sorry, I didn't listen to the audiobooks.
No, it's okay.
I butchered every name at the beginning. I was like,
don't worry.
So did Madison.
I called Ethan for years.
You know what? That is completely valid.
It is spelled that way. Yeah, so Cathona, Luna, Ogenus, Erd is in the audio.
Okay.
And Solus is the only like god. The rest of them are like, you have like Cathona, the earth goddess, Luna, the patron goddess, Ogenus, the goddess of the seas.
Oh, so it's a goddess.
Yep, and then you have Solus, who is the god. But then you have Erd, which is an ancient, powerful entity, again,
Right.
often described as a force of fate or
Right.
destiny. So
Right.
not
And in
even
Crescent
like,
City, we learned that that's the same thing as word, right? With like the word marks and all that
yep.
stuff.
So is this Solus?
Well,
Someone had mentioned that this might be Rune.
I even thought that it would be Hunt because doesn't he
Mhm.
have wings? And isn't there like lightning and stuff?
Yeah, there are wings and there is lightning on
Okay. Yeah.
here. So here's
So
like a close up.
here's my thing. I think that we are setting up for main characters to become gods and goddesses in crossovers.
Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think that this might be Bryce
And
becoming
that's what I
one
had
of the
thought as
goddesses.
originally.
But then who's the gold one on, is it Lydia? Is the gold one on the front of
I could see that.
For
CC3?
reference, I don't have the paperback version. I know.
But like then what's the whole deal with like the snake stuff?
There's
I
a
don't
snake
know.
on this one too. Like Hunt is literally holding a snake, or whoever that may be, whether or not it's
I
Hunt or
think
whoever.
people were referencing the snake as like a nod to the Viper Queen.
Okay.
Maybe.
That's
Well, and maybe
interesting.
because if you look at this one, there's claws too
Okay. See,
down at the bottom.
I think that she's setting it up to be this whole massive crossover where in Akatar you have Feyre coming back from the dead, and she is like the mother figure. She recreated the cauldron, and in the first book we see in Tamlin's Manor where
Mhm.
there's a tapestry of a woman pouring the cauldron out and creating Prythian, right? Feyre
Yep.
literally remade the cauldron. I think that she's setting it up for Feyre to be the mother, a goddess
Mhm.
of Prythian. And then in the end of KOA we have Aelin going, I literally am a god. She calls herself a god. She's got all these powers. She does lose them. I think they're coming back when the word gates reopen. We'll get into that
Mhm.
later. But I also think that they're setting it up for Bryce and Hunt essentially to become like god figures. I know their stories are kind of wrapped up a little bit, but I think
Mhm.
in crossovers, I think there's going to be a lot of insight into new powers when
Mhm.
word gates open again,
Mhm.
and like magic flowing freely. And I don't know, I think it'll be interesting.
I can't find it, but I liked the idea that you had about some of the main characters becoming like gods and goddesses
Mm-hmm.
because I have it somewhere in my notes. I cannot find it, but specifically they're trying to figure something out and um Bryce is being just sarcastic like she is, and I love that for her.
Mm-hmm.
But whenever they're talking, and I will definitely bring it up in a future episode once I find my notes, but Bryce is like, they're talking about something, and then Bryce is like, oh yeah, and I'm the like seventh Asteri. I'm like, hold on, wait a minute.
Like a joke, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Or
I
is
think
it?
that it would be very feasible, especially with like I don't know if you guys have heard the theory where the Throne of Glass gods are Asteri.
Mhm.
Um,
Mm.
it's so interesting and it makes so much sense because there's this quote in, I believe it's House of Sky and Breath, where they describe the Asteri and then they describe the Throne of Glass gods, and it's like the exact same. It's the exact
Yeah.
same description. They use buzzwords that are like exactly the
Mhm.
same, like it wasn't meant to be a coincidence that they were described the same exact way, you know? And so and the Asteri are just like essentially aliens, right? They come from a
Mhm.
different planet and they have this type of power where they just like eat magic essentially. So it's like it wouldn't be that hard for them to become gods and goddesses if we just call deities gods and goddesses because we don't understand their power, right?
Yeah.
So I think it would be very feasible for all these characters to become gods and goddesses if they just like continue to have their power.
Mhm. I love
Very
that.
interesting.
Yeah, that's very interesting. That I want to let that one simmer for a little bit.
It's so
My
cool.
final question for you is it ACOTAR 6 or is it ACOTAR 6 through 8? on the draft.
Ooh, okay.
And I just want your personal opinion of what you think, because everyone has a different opinion.
100%. So at first I did think that it was ACOTAR 6 through 8, and I think that was just because I was wanting to get my hopes up that she was dropping like 3 books. But realistically, I do think that it's just ACOTAR 6, and then someone, I think it was, do you guys follow Yaz the Bookish?
Is that the one that she autographed it?
Yes.
And she was like, it's just an arrow.
Yes, she got proof that Sarah J. Maas had like written an arrow years ago, and then she showed that it's the same exact thing on the notebook. So just in her handwriting, it's an arrow. I think that she's just waiting to put the title, and that was the arrow.
Yeah.
Ooh, that makes sense.
But yeah. So unfortunately, I do think it's just ACOTAR 6. But
I'll take what I can get.
I am so excited. I'm
like,
gonna
oh, it's
eat
fine.
that shit up.
100%. Yes.
Oh my gosh, midnight release party. Those are my favorites.
Yes.
I'm even trying to. I'm like, I need to get like a reading party, like hole up in a cabin and just read ACOTAR 6. Oh my gosh, wouldn't that be so
maybe
fun?
we'll do like some sort of like bookish something for that.
It would be so great.
I feel like you could come to Orlando and come to our midnight release party. Maybe we'll throw one.
Amazing.
I love it. You're invited.
Okay, thank you.
You're invited. It's fine. Amazing.
I'm so excited.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us today. I hope you had fun in the House of Theories and Lore. Again, thank you, Sierra, so much for hanging out with us. The creator of Wonderwick, the amazing perfumes and colognes. We'll be dropping a code in our show notes, goodishgirls10, so you can use that at checkout, and you can smell just like your favorite characters.
Amazing. Thank you so much for having me. That was a lot of fun.
Welcome. Bye, guys. Can't get enough of the Goodish Girls? Follow us on social media for sneak peeks at our upcoming episodes and bonus content.